Hey, LinkedIn. I have not been on here in I don't know how long. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. This video is really about me reintroducing myself because I've been off these LinkedIn streets for a couple of months. Um, I still post, but I haven't been posting as frequently. And one of the reasons is because I've just taken some time to breathe and to reflect. And one of the things that I want you to know is that in that reflection, that I have just really realized that your joy is in your gifting. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit today. But I wanted to reintroduce myself because I have lots of new people who are following me here on LinkedIn, which I am so excited about. And then I have my true riders who have been with me for many, many years here on LinkedIn, and so many things have shifted and changed, and I'm always doing something, right? Kelly's always up to something. And so I just wanted to come on during this new year and let y'all know what's going on. Let you know what I am up to and what I'm going to be up to for the next year and what that means for you and how we can communicate, work together, collaborate, do all the things, right? Um, so, if you landed on this video, let me tell you who this video is really for. So, this is for obviously you can sit and listen, whoever wants to listen, but it's really directed to corporate decision makers. So, those who hire external speakers or trainers, or if you're having a conference or an event at your organization and you're looking for somebody to do a fireside chat, someone that you can interview. It's for those decision makers. It's for decision makers who are run events and conferences, and you hire keynote speakers, you hire breakout sessions, you hire speakers for breakout sessions. It's for those professionals, business owners, entrepreneurs who are aspiring professional speakers. And what I mean by that is somebody who wants to leverage public speaking to get paid. So either you want to get paid up front as a keynote speaker, as a corporate trainer, you want to do corporate consulting contracts, or, right? Because it's not just or, but or you want to leverage speaking to generate leads in your business. So many of you are coaches or other types of service providers, and you don't necessarily want to be the keynote speaker. You don't want to necessarily be the trainer, but you would like to leverage public speaking either virtually or in person to generate leads for your business. Those are the people that, when I talk about how we can work together, how we can collaborate, that's who this discussion, a lot of this discussion is for. For everyone else, it's great to just get to know who Kelly is, right? You're following me, and it's great to understand why I post, what I post, when I post, how I post, all of those things. And so that's really what I wanted to share with you all today in this reintroduction. Part of the reintroduction is my new office space. So for like the last year, I've been driving my husband nuts, keep saying, I want to change my office. I want to change my office. So if you've seen me before on live or been on any of my master classes or just had a conversation with me, you know that pink wall, right? You know that back wall. And so my desk was always in front of that wall. And then I have these two big windows, and I just felt like I was caged in. You know how they say like your back is against the wall? That's literally how I felt in this office, that my back was against the wall. And the office is probably 120 square feet, so like 10 by 12, maybe 10 by 11. But I knew that there was a way to set this office up so that it would give me more room and more places to create, right? Because I'm a visionary and I love to create. And so I spent the Christmas day Was it Christmas Day? Yeah, Christmas Day. I had my niece with me, and we started looking at the office and how to really set up the office and create different spaces. So now I have moved my desk away from the wall. My back is no longer against the wall. I have lots of space behind me that I can move. You can see a little bit that I can move around behind me. And I have set this up so that there are three studios, right? So there's this studio where I'm sitting at my desk, where I will do things like this, where I just want to go live, or I want to do something really quick, or maybe if I'm teaching a master class or doing a workshop, I might be right here. Um, then two of the things I'm going to announce to you about where I'm going forward is you'll see that the pink wall with the director's chair, my books, etc. That's one studio. And then where this pink chair is with these pictures, that's another studio. So there's essentially three studios. And then because we have so much space now in the middle, I'll be using my whiteboard, which is over here. I can move that around and I can teach standing, right? So it gives me more space to be free and to move around. And I am uber excited about that. So before I go any further, I said who this is for, but why me? Why should you be listening to me? Why should you, as somebody who hires speakers or trainers, want to even have a conversation with me or watch this any further? So, I am Kelly Charles Collins. I am a retired employment law trial attorney. So, I practice law. I graduated from law school in 1995 and immediately was a trial lawyer. I started as a public defender, so trying criminal cases and felonies and misdemeanors. And after about 3 years, transitioned to the civil practice of law, and that was in the employment law arena. So working with companies defending their cases when they were sued by their employees around employment discrimination, anything to do with discrimination, retaliation, wage and hour issues, all that kind of stuff, and did some labor, but not too much. And so I did that for over 2 decades. And it's so crazy to say that because this year, September 22nd of this year, will be my 30th anniversary of practicing law. That's crazy to think that. But it has, that career really helped me understand my gifting, right? Really helped me to enhance and really train me in ways that I don't think any other profession could have trained me. So in the, 2019, the years are just going by. In 2019, I retired from the practice of law to enter into full time entrepreneurship as a professional speaker. And so have been working with organizations to train their leaders, their employees. Started out with doing a lot of training around workplace investigations because as an employment lawyer, that is what I did a lot of, right? Workplace investigations, doing their interviews, and then, giving reports and then trying the cases related to that. And so my first book that I wrote was Ace Your Workplace Investigations, which is still available on Amazon. And I used to train around that. I also used to train on unconscious bias, and I still will train on that, but it's not really my focus anymore. But unconscious bias and also on handling difficult conversations. So you see my book in the back, Convo Catalyst. I don't know which way to point. there Convo Catalyst, and that book is all about how to handle difficult conversations. And then I wrote another book. You can see it back there, Unapologetic AF. So that's one of my other books, that white book that you see there. And then you see the Convo Catalyst cards behind me, which is related to the book. And then my newest book is The Art of Strategic Resistance. So right there, you have the proof copy. I'm waiting for the real copy to come. But The Art of Strategic Resistance is my latest book that I've just wrote. And then on the third shelf, if you see below, those are a couple of the guides skill building guides that I have written related to communication. So all this stuff you can get on my website, but I give you this information so that you understand that I am somebody who not only speaks about things, but I have written about them. It is a work that I have done for over 3 decades. When I talk about high stakes communication, that is my expertise. Um, I have operated in high stakes arenas for over 3 decades, right? So, not only was I a trial attorney, I was a partner in 2 law firms. I'm an arbitrator, I'm a mediator. So, I have done and been in spaces where it is necessary to understand how to communicate effectively, how to navigate spaces, how to be strategic, how to be intentional, how to inspire action, how to persuade people to do what you want them to do. Right? Or come to the decisions that you want them to come to. I've also been featured in on ABC, NBC, CBS, in Forbes, Fast Company, Authority Magazine, which is also Medium. I'm an award-winning TEDx speaker, so my TEDx was awarded a Cicero Writing Award, Cicero Speech Writing Award, and shortly after my TEDx was published, it was elevated to the TED platform. So it's actually on the TED platform. And when I looked at it the other day, it had over 65,000 views, which I just think is amazing. Um, so I am somebody who not only teaches, but I actually do, right? So one of the reasons that when I transitioned from the practice of law into entrepreneurship is because I wanted more freedom. I wanted the freedom to be able to leverage my profession to pursue my purpose. Like what I had learned and what I knew how to do, I wanted to take that instead of being paid for the doing of it, right? The trying of the cases, to be paid for what I know. And so that is the mission that I'm on, is to also help other people like me, other professionals, and especially lawyers, doctors, accountants, who we have paid so much money, right? And have so many student loans. Some of us may still have our student loans, and we've invested so much that we're really tied to those professions and sometimes can't see a way out. And one of the things that I know is that public speaking and the ability to communicate with clarity, with confidence, with credibility is definitely one of the ways out, right? So that has been my focus for the past 4, now going into 5 years since I've had my business full time. The business started while I was practicing law. So one of the things to understand too is that as a transitioning person, you don't have to just jump out of the fire pan into the fire, and in fact, you don't have to jump at all. You can do both. But while I was practicing law, trying cases multiple hours a day, having 14, 16, 18-hour days, I was still building my business. So it is possible. It is possible to do all the things. But I also know that it's not just those who want to be professional speakers. It's not just people who want to go out and make money through their voice or monetize their expertise in some way. Public speaking is vitally important for those of us who are in leadership. And so my business going forward is focused on 3 distinct categories. One is corporate leaders, so emerging to executive leaders, right? So that's one area. The second is Black women. I'm a Black woman, and I know what it's like to be in these spaces. I know how hard sometimes it is to navigate. I know that if we don't have certain skills and we don't understand certain strategies and techniques, then it's hard for us to move forward. It's hard for us to deal with the daily foolishness sometimes that we encounter. So that's the second category. And the third is, I just say speakers, but who I'm talking about in this category are people who have a deep level of expertise. You could have that from your professional experience, or you can have that from personal experience, but you have a deep level of expertise in some area, and you want to leverage that as a professional speaker. Professional meaning that you want to get paid for it. Either you want to get paid on the front end, and or you want to get paid on the front end and the back end, or you just want to get paid on the back end, right? Selling from the stage. So those are the three categories of clients. So if anybody is like, well, who does Kelly work with? That's who I work with. Emerging, right, to executive leaders in the corporate space, Black women who really understand that they need to design their life, their living, and the legacy that they desire and they deserve. So we'll talk about that also. And then those of you who have a deep level of expertise and you want to monetize that expertise. That's the easiest way to say that. You want to monetize that expertise in some way. So I said in the beginning that, I hadn't been on these LinkedIn streets in a while. And though if you go on my post, you'll see that I've posted, I used to post like every single day, like clockwork. And what started happening is that it was just losing the joy. One of the things that I talk to my clients about, those who want to be thought leaders and those who, you know, um, want to speak, I always talk to them about optimizing their presence and not necessarily increasing your presence, but optimizing your presence in such a way that it's intentional and that it's strategic. And what I started to feel on my own was that I was going completely against what I had been teaching my own clients, right? I was just like, we got to get this content out there. We got to get this content out there. And so it, though it was still, strategic, and though it was still me and it was still, the things that I was interested in, I was losing interest in the constant posting every single day. And so I decided to stop. Now, it wasn't easy because it was like withdrawals, right? Just like when you're so used to doing something and then you pull back, that can be kind of scary, right? What does that mean? Because everybody's like, oh, you have to be on social media and you have to post multiple times a day and you have to do, have to. You don't have to do anything, right? And so it just started to get to me. And I just decided I was going to pull back. And obviously, with pulling back, yes, um, my impressions have gone down, all that stuff. But you know what? I'm good with that because it was important to me to pull back to understand what I truly want to do and who I want to do that with and how I want to do that, that aligns with the vision that I have for my life, that aligns with the vision that I have for the way I want to live and the legacy that I want to leave. And so I really started looking at all of the things that I had been doing or have done since I started the business and came into entrepreneurship full time. Looking at the people that I've worked with, looking at how I've worked with them, whether it was in the corporate space or it was in individual spaces with mentoring or group mentoring, and trying to really understand where is my joy, right? Because I understand my gifting and I understand that I have lots of gifts. It was a thing that when I came into the profession of speaking that I had to think about a lot, because it was like there's lots of things I could talk about, there's lots of things that I could focus on, but should I? And as I have been in the entrepreneurship space and getting a lot of information from a lot of different people, and people saying, oh, it has to be done this way, you should do this, or this is what it has to be. And it has just been a lot. It has been a lot. It has been um, overwhelming at points. And truthfully, it has dimmed me in some way because I started to take in what people were saying about how things have to be done. And no, you can't do that because you're supposed to. No, like, why not? Right. And so I had to like shake myself up and really think about, just like I said, belong everywhere I am, but I don't belong everywhere. Like I had to really get back to that person, right? And to the other thing I have over here that says self preservation is the first law of nature. I had to get back to Kelly, to that person, and try to understand what is it that brings me true joy. And so I started looking again at, all the things that I've been doing. And one of the things that I realized as I look at pictures and I look at videos and I read client testimonials, the thing that truly brings me joy, right? When I said at the beginning, like your joy is in the gifting, is in your gifting. What really brings me joy is to work with people to get all the stuff that's in their brain and bring it together. So, me being able to listen, right? Listen to what you have to say and listen to all the things. I'm like you, I got a lot of stuff going on in this brain. And listening to what people have to say. And let me make, I hope this mic is on. Yeah, that would have been bad. Listening to what people have to say, and then analyzing that, reframing it, helping them to reframe it and put it into something that they can take out into the world that is unapologetically theirs, right? That is a true reflection of who they are, who they want to be in the world, the impact they want to create, the legacy they want to leave, all of those things. And I was looking at, in particular, I was looking at the video, like videos from when we did Iconic Talks earlier this year. I mean, earlier last year, when I worked with 7 of my clients who were in my thought leader circle to develop their signature talks. And then I put them on stage in a leadership conference. And just every time I feel like every time I watch that video, it just like a smile just comes across my face, and it's a true genuine joy, right? A joy of pride. Like I'm so proud of them. I'm proud of us. I'm proud of what we accomplished. But because I know the work that it took, I know like the hours that they spent, that we spent together, really just analyzing what's in their brains and understanding who they want to be and how they want to show up, and then being able to help them craft that and put that out into the world. There's like no better there's like no better feeling than that. And so that joy for me is the gifting, right? And that is the gifting that I want to use to move forward, because I want to live in a place of joy. I want to enjoy the work that I do. I want to enjoy the people that I work with. And so as I talk about high stakes communications, there's no higher stakes probably than a presentation, right? Than having to communicate something either to your clients or your board or your colleagues or your customers, your employees, right? Your stakeholders, being on TV, on a podcast interview, doing a keynote speech, all of those things. Those things are the ultimate high stakes. And so, because that is my true gifting, and because I have created frameworks upon frameworks upon frameworks to help you to really understand how to take what is in your brain and put that inside of a presentation, that is what I'm going to be focused on going forward. So, as I talked about earlier, in those 3 categories of emerging to executive leaders and Black women and speakers, it's all around presentation. How do you present yourself? How do you present your ideas? Whether you're trying to inspire action, right? Activate people, or whether you are trying to create buy-in. So a lot of our leaders, when you're doing your presentations, what you're really trying to do is create a buy-in, right? For some change or some policy or something that is happening. And you need, right, your teams, you need your employees, you need the organization to buy in so that you all can move forward. All of that requires you to be able to present with confidence, clarity, and credibility. Confidence for you to be able to, right, clarity, let's start with clarity, because clarity precedes confidence. But for you to get very clear about the message that you want to deliver? And what is the outcome that you want from that message? Understanding, being clear about who your audience is and the journey that you need to take the audience on, right? So one of the frameworks we talk about is the bridge. So where they are, right? Where your audience is, where they desire. So current state, desired state, and you being the bridge to get them there. That is, you have to get very clear about that and around the messaging. And again, whether it is that you're trying to persuade them to do something, buy in, get them to buy in, get them activated, right? All of that is necessary. So you have to get clarity around that, clarity around your gifting, right? And your ability to do those things. And then that will give you the confidence to deliver. And so in that delivery, it's also about how, they say it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. So it's delivery, right? So when we talk about the clarity, and the clarity, that is the strategic communications piece of it. So one of the things I talk about often is, as an influential communicator, you have to understand both the strategy of communication and the mechanics of communication. So when we talk about the clarity, we're talking about the strategic part of communication, right? The messaging, the why around the messaging, the content, the context, the connection around the messaging. When we talk about the confidence, this is the show, right? How do we show up? And this is more around the mechanics of communication. And then we talk about the credibility. Who are you? And why should people believe you? Like, why should anybody be listening to you? Like, why should y'all listen to me? This is why I told you about my background, right? So that you understand who I am. You see my books, you see that I've, been in the media, right? So I'm not just some fly by night person. I'm somebody who has developed intellectual property around the things that I am going to be teaching, right? And so you can rely on me, right? If I say something to you, and also you can watch me, because what I say, I do, right? And when I don't do it, I'll tell you I didn't do it. So the credibility to be able to do that. And so whether I'm dealing with emerging to executive leaders, whether I'm talking to Black women, whether I'm talking to aspiring professional speakers, it is all rooted in this idea of presentation, design, and delivery, public speaking, keynote speech coaching, all of those things. There's an added thing when I'm talking about Black women. I'll get to that in a second. But again, it is really about how do we present ourselves in the world, and communication, right? I've dubbed 2025 like effective communication is your leadership currency. You have got to learn how to communicate effectively, right? And I don't care. You don't have to be doing a keynote speech in front of 10,000 people. If you're just having a one-on-one conversation, the ability to effectively communicate is very important there too, right? It is vitally important, because a lot of things get lost. And when I was practicing law and trying cases, a lot of our cases ended up in lawsuits and in trials because of lack of communication or miscommunication, right? So communication is your bread and butter. The way that I want to support you in elevating your communication skills is around presentation design and delivery, your presentation skills, keynotes, preparing, right? Being prepared for podcast interviews and media interviews, being prepared to be on those pesky panels, right? When you got that one person that's just talking, and you can't get a word in edgewise. Really help being able to hold your own if you have a fireside chat interview, right? So those are the ways that those are the topics and the things that I'm going to be working with those 3 different client types on moving forward. That's what my content is going to be around. So let's talk about content and how I'm going to be showing up and where you can find me. And again, because I'm going to be coming from a joyful place, right? That is my goal. So I'll still be on LinkedIn. I probably won't be on LinkedIn every day like I used to be, but I will still be posting on LinkedIn. I will still post my newsletter. I think I'm going to change the date of the newsletter. And the reason I'm going to probably do that is so that it coincides um, with the release of my podcast. But and that's something I'm going to tell you about. So we'll see. But just know that I will have my newsletter. My newsletter, Executive Speak newsletter, will continue on LinkedIn. I will post, right? Things come to mind, like today. I posted something. If things come to me, I will post. The idea is that I'm going to be more intentional and strategic about showing up, right? On LinkedIn. I'm going to be optimizing my presence on LinkedIn as opposed to just spraying and praying over there, right? So that's one thing. The other thing I'm going to be doing is I am launching 2 podcasts slash YouTube shows. Yes, because I do love to talk. I like to teach. And sometimes it's easier, right? I do write a lot, but sometimes it's just easier and I'm able to give you more context and feeling and connection if I'm talking to you. And so I am going to be doing 2 shows. Pray for me. Pray for me. So one is going to be all about public speaking, professional speaking, speaker branding, the speaking business, presentation skills, communication skills, all the stuff that I just talked to you about. And I am struggling with figuring out the name for that show, but we're going to get it together. We are going to get it together. So that's going to be one show, and that's going to come out soon. So if you see you'll know that it's that podcast when you see the pink brick background. That's going to be the studio for my speaking podcast. So if you ever see that come up on my feed, then you'll know, oh, that's her podcast. That's the speaking podcast. Again, I'll figure out the name soon because we're getting ready to launch it probably in a couple weeks. So I got to figure that out. Now, if you see this background, I don't even know that background. I don't know how you'll do it. Anyway, the background where you see my picture and the pink chair and the orange. If you see that background will be the background for my after hours podcast. And that podcast is focused on women, right? So after hours is where women come to unwind, unleash, uplift, and unite. So if you see that background, you'll know that that's the after hours podcast. Both of these podcasts will be released soon. They'll also be on YouTube. So they'll be everywhere that you listen to podcasts, but the video versions will be on YouTube. I'm going to drop links in the comments where you can join the wait list for all this stuff so that you can know when it's going to be released, and you can pick and choose what you want, right? So know that I'm going to be focusing on public speaking and everything around presentations and presentation skills and the speaking business. And I'm also going to be focused on women's empowerment. So in that, I'll talk also about, the art of strategic resistance and all of that. So I will drop all those links. If you want to discuss hiring me for keynote speaking, workshops, fireside chats, any event or conference or anything that you have, then I'll also drop the link for you to book a call with me. So you can go to bookkellycc.com, but I will drop that link. Everything is also going to be on my website, which is scrolling across the bottom. One last thing that I want to talk to you about is, and I mentioned this as it relates to Black women. So for Black women, one of the focuses I have is to ensure that we this is everybody. It's not just Black women, but we love a vision board, right? People love vision boards. And my gifting, again, right? When I talk about being able to listen and analyze and all of those things, my gifting is to help you bring that vision board to life. And so one of the programs that I have developed is called the Black Women's Leadership and Legacy Accelerator. And I call it the Ultimate Visioning Experience. And the idea is that I will be using my V-Suite framework, vision, voice, visibility, and value, to help you to create your battle plan, your 90-day battle plan. So we love these vision board parties and I think they're great. The problem is that they stop at us just creating the vision and there's no idea and there's no plan and there's no strategy for implementation. So this is what the Black Women's Leadership and Legacy Accelerator is to take that vision and create the strategy for implementation, for execution, right? So that next year we don't have the same things on our vision board because we were just manifesting, right? And waiting and hoping that it would happen. Manifesting takes work, right? Manifesting takes planning and strategy and execution. And so for Black women, and some people might be upset about that, but this is about focus, not exclusion. And I'm a Black woman and I was raised by Black women. And I want to ensure that Black women have the skills and understand how, right, and not just the skills, but the that they feel empowered to design the life, the live in, the legacy that they desire and deserve, not what other people feel that they desire and deserve. So again, there will be a wait list for that. Why wait list? Because I've done a lot of stuff to like put dates out there and then it just causes me stress. So I'm going to create these wait lists. And when the wait list gets to a point where I'm like, yeah, this makes sense, we'll open it up. So especially for the accelerator, the podcasts are coming out regardless, right? They'll come out, but the accelerator, we want to make sure that that there's a need for it, right? That people really understand the need for it. And then once we get enough people, then we will open that up for enrollment. And for right now, it's going to be virtual. My desire is that it actually ends up being a live in-person experience. So recap. I know that was a lot, but I really wanted to let you all know where I've been, what I've been doing, what I'm up to, and what I'm going to be up to going forward. And this is as much for you as it is for me, right? For me to be really clear about where I want to go and what I want to do, and that I do the things that I should be doing, not just doing the things that I can do, right? There's a difference. Okay, so just to recap. So if you catch it at the end, team replay, or you just, jumping on right now, here is the recap. The recap is that I'm still going to be on LinkedIn. I'm still going to be in these LinkedIn streets. But my focus is going to be around high stakes communication as it relates to presentations, presentation design, delivery, presentation skills, keynote speaking, media appearances, those types of things where you have to use your voice or your words to be able to create buy-in, inspire action, or activate people, right? Or persuade people to take a particular to rule in a particular way, right? Or to make a decision in a particular kind of way. So really helping you to influence outcomes. The people in corporations, for Black women, right? Who are also, right, part of that emerging leaders to executive leaders. But again, I just told you about our accelerator. So there's a separate program also for Black women. And then on my website, you'll see speakers. It's for people who are aspiring to be professional speakers. So those who have a deep level of expertise and want to leverage public speaking, either to get paid as a public speaker or to generate leads using public speaking. So if you are one of those people or you know somebody who is, I would love for you to send them my way. How can we work together? There are different ways that we can work together. I am available for keynotes, for workshops, for fireside chats, for podcast interviews, media interviews. Also, when we're talking about professional, those who want to be professional speakers, I'm available for mentoring, and I'm also available for mentoring for your leaders too. So we can either do group or we can do individual. I'll talk about that in a minute. But for those who want to be professional speakers, I have a program called the Signature Talk Experience. And the Signature Talk Experience is where I work with you to develop your signature talk or presentation. Um, Often now I do it one on one, but there will be more times where I'll do it as a group and we'll do that live in person. But for right now, that's one to one. So if you have been thinking, I want to get on stage and I want to get paid to speak, the way to do that is to have a signature talk that people want to pay for. So we could talk about that. Again, you can find all this information on my website at kellycharlescollins.com. For my keynotes, workshops, interviews, fireside chats can be done virtually or in person. Mentoring can be done virtually in person for certain things. The signature talk experience is best done in person. We have done it virtually, but it is best done in person to get all of me, like to get my real, all the gifting in person. So if you would like to work together, which I hope, you would like to work with me either at one of your events, your conference, as your mentor, I am going to drop all the links in the comments. And I know people are like, don't give them too much. People, no, just I'm gonna give you everything and you decide. You're smart. I know people are smart. You decide where you fit in, what makes sense to you. I am doing one thing. I'm just doing it in different ways for different people. And the one thing is to help you to become an influential communicator, being able to communicate with clarity, confidence, and credibility. And we do that through helping you understand presentation design, presentation delivery, your presentation skills. So it's all one thing. It's just how do you want to get it, right? How do you want to learn how to do those things? And we can work together to do that. If you just want to have a conversation, go to bookkellycc.com. If you want to read more, because this 40 minutes wasn't enough, go to kellycharlescollins.com. Otherwise, go in the comments. I'm going to meet you in the comments when this is done, and I'm going to drop all these links for you. And once you go on my website, you can always purchase my books. My books are also on Amazon. And I am so excited for my YouTube channels. Cannot wait for those to come out. So, can't wait for you to get on waiting list. I'll let you know when they come out. Again, you'll know Pink Brick, that's the speaking podcast. Pink Swirls, that is going to be the After Hours Women's podcast. And me sitting here could be a whole bunch of things. It could be a whole bunch of things. But anyway, thanks, y'all. I appreciate that you are here and that you shared this time with me. I am so excited for what's going to come in 2025. I'm wishing you the best. I'm wishing you love, light, happiness, prosperity, and the best of everything that 2025 has to offer. I'm excited about what it has to offer me, and I look forward to working with you. I look forward to supporting you however I can support you. If I can be of assistance to you, just let me know. If you know someone who needs my services, please, I ask that you would refer them to me. If you have an event that's coming up and you need a dynamic speaker who is going to intrigue, transform, and shift your audience, I'm your girl. Reach out to me. But in the meantime, have an amazing day. Stay warm, stay healthy, stay blessed. And until next time, take care.